Okay, so I've seen quite a few reviews when it comes to Pokemon Legends Z-A, and I see a lot of people that the people that are putting hate on the game are a little bit grifting. And by grifting, I mean that yes, you're giving a bad review, but there's so much more bad that you could talk about in this game that Nintendo and Game Freak fucking slap you right in the face. And it's just I don't see people actually breaking down a section of different parts of the game that makes the game bad. See, when someone makes, I'm not gonna name any names, but there's certain ethos or certain people making reviews from a point of view that seems like they didn't really sit down and actually finish all the way the game down and actually tell you what makes this game bad. Okay, so let me talk a little bit more about this cuz like I hate when people say yes, the game is bad, the story is bad, but they don't tell you why it's bad about the story. And when you don't go in specific what's bad about the story, the combat, etc., whatever you're talking about, you gotta go in depth. Because if you give kind of like a yeah, it was bad, but you don't go in deeply what's so bad about the game, people are gonna be like, oh well, I'm gonna buy it anyway because this person kind of didn't convince me. So today I will bring you a review and we're gonna go step by step deep. I'm gonna go into detail why I like, why I dislike, what they did good, what they did bad, and I'm gonna give a full breakdown about Pokemon Legends CA. And you could decide whether you want to buy it or not. We're gonna be talking about ratings, different things about it, PvP, all that. We're going to be breaking this freaking game down bone by bone. We're gonna go bare bones and go into details, extreme details about the game. So get ready. By the way, if you guys are enjoying this type of content that I make, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're a mobile, don't forget to hype my video. Now let's get into the video. Roll it.
Present day. Present time.
Okay, so let's get into the details. So let's talk about the story because the story is almost non-existent. So, Game Freak and Nintendo thought that it was a great idea to pretty much make a story like this. Let me just explain it to you so you get a freaking idea why it's so bad. So the story goes like this: you're a trainer, you get to France or whatever they want to kind of Lumio City, and you know how in the anime Pokemon what was it, Pokemon Sword and Shield, how you have to become the best trainer? Well, they kind of did this in here, and you start from rank Z and you gotta make yourself to rank A. Now there's these mega Pokemons that are popping up, but no one knows why, and they leave you out of the loop. They don't tell you nothing. And as for the characters have one of the weirdest, I mean, they're woke characters, but I put that aside to see if I got a good story. But all the characters feel so hollow. So, what feels so hollow about the characters is that it just feels like it was made by AI. Like it feels like the whole story was generated by AI, and the personalities, they're so generic, and like I would even call generic. It's below that. It's like, why should I care for this character? You know, I don't care about the characters, to be honest. There's no personality behind them. There's no soul. Like, I've actually played games that are supposed to have no soul, that are mobile games that have more soul than this game. I play indie games, games developed by one single person and have a soul. Now, what do I hate about the story? Well, as you can see, the story is pretty linear. Now, Pokemon has always been known for like a linear story. I mean, like gameplay. But when it comes to the story, there's always something. There's like villains involved. There's a plot why the villains want to do what they want to do. What is their purpose? When it comes to Pokemon Legends Z-A, the characters have no purpose and there's no really villain arc. You are going into an empty story with no actual story. You're just ranking yourself up. You're left out of the loop. There's characters from Pokemon X and Y, but there's actually no fucking plot. Why are the villains not involved? This is the first game. What happened to Galaxy, Team Galaxy, Team Cypher, Team Rocket? Where is all that? It's not there. The story is so boring. It's just go around. You're going around like a headless chicken, not knowing why you're supposed to rank up. What's the outcome? Yeah, you're gonna become the best number one trainer, but what then? Is there going to be a Pokemon League? There's going you're playing the game like a headless chicken. There's literally no purpose to even be there. And to make it worse, they decided it was a great idea to leave you locked in Lumio City. You can't leave Lumio City. I'm telling you, this is the most empty, most soulless game I've ever played in my life. I'm telling you, even if you play Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Yellow, you could at least go into buildings. So, yes, this game has no world building. All the images look 2D, it's not 3D. Now, I'm not the type of person that thinks that a game has to have like high fidelity and graphics, but when it comes to a $70 game, why are you charging $70 games for a game that's made with PNGs that look like they were pulled out of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time? And not even that, because Ocarina of Time and then Nintendo 64 at least try to manipulate the PNG images to give the illusions that it's actually 3D. But we don't even get this. Pokemon X and Y was 3D, and that was in the freaking 3DS, wasn't even in the Switch. Come on, this story is so hollow. Genshin Impact, you know what? I'm gonna say something controversial. I actually took Bungie for granted because even Bungie can bring us a way better story than Game Freak and Nintendo is. And I don't want to blame Game Freak too much because compared to Bees of Reincarnation and that trailer of that game looks like it has a fucking story. And guess what? That game is being made by Game Freak. So the fact is, I think Nintendo is behind this whole bullshit. How can you make the most fucking soulless, boring story? And you eventually get a villain. You eventually get the villain if you go to the cafe eventually where Tank Magma used to be at, and you think they're the villains and they're the bad guy. And when that finally pops up almost at the end of the game, I'm like, finally, where the fuck was these villains the whole game? Like, why wasn't this villain arc and the whole story? Pokemon has always been known to have a villains involved, try to make things with a malicious purpose to take whether it's bad or good, or they think they're bad, or two teams fighting against each other thinking they're better, but in reality, there's just the one is the lesser evil of the other one, but they're both evil. The story does not have a villain arc. This is what I hate so much about it. And when you get to the end part, you think you're getting a villain arc, and you start thinking finally the game started to get good, and then the villains are good. They're like, oh yeah, let's be friends. Then the plot after that, you should pretty much find out what's going on. I'm not gonna spoil it in case someone wants to play it. But anyway, a specific character dies, and it was actually a beloved character that we liked for a previous game. And it was sad. And then the motherfucker just comes back and be like, oh yeah, well, I can't die. I'm like, why would you bring him? What was the point of killing him? And he was just gonna come back and tell you that he was immortal. So why do I like the story? I don't like the story because first of all, it doesn't have the story. Most of the game is just fucking trash. There's no story. There's no villains. There's nothing to actually like. It's pointless. You could go and play the game without reading the text. The whole game. You could go up the whole game without even reading a single text, and you still won't know what happened in the story unless you really look into it. And the story is not even that meaningful because I wouldn't even call it a story. The game is basically just go to a headless chicken. You don't need context to anything, and the only context you need is at the end of the game, where you actually have a small of a story, and that only lasts. If we don't include the fights, that probably only lasts like 30 minutes. So yeah, that's pretty much why I dislike the story. It's fucking trash. It's not even a fucking story. A gotcha game has more story than this. I've never played a game that had less of a story than Pokemon Legends Z-A. Now, for our next topic, let's talk about, I don't know, let's talk about the questing. I guess. So, the questing, when it comes to the questing, it's kind of dumb. You're doing quests, you're going around the city. When it comes to like one of the main quests and getting these megas. And don't get me started with the megas. The megas are one of the worst freaking designs I've ever seen. Look at freaking Mega Starmie. They didn't do nothing to this Pokemon. All they do is make his legs longer. Oh my god, and they got a DLC on day one. And these are the megas have no effort. All these megas are they're not even trying. At this point, they're not even freaking trying. The megas have no soul. Make their legs longer and make it a daddy long leg spider. Yeah, let them, because they're gonna fucking keep eating that slop, because they know you're a Nintendo fan. They know you're a fucking moron. And I fucking bought it because I'm gonna milk the shit out of this. Because let me get this straight. I used to be a huge Pokemon fan till Scarlet and Violet. That's when I started to drive up. But I played from Yellow Crystal. I played them all, even the GameCube ones that a lot of people haven't played, like Guild of Darkness. And the questing is so stupid. Now, as for the side questing and the beginning of the game is like, okay, the side questing is okay. You should bada boom, 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 boom. You go there, finish a side quest, moving on, get on with with whatever you got to do. But some of the side quests get so fucking annoying. Why the fuck do I need to complete a side quest where I gotta catch a mega Pokemon, which is basically a bigger version of a regular Pokemon? No stats, nothing special. It's just a bigger Pokemon, and I can't complete the quest till I catch this. Some of these quests are gonna start to get annoying. The other thing, certain quests don't let you progress through the story unless you get certain side quests made. And it's just like, go catch this specific shiny Pokemon. Why the fuck do I gotta catch a shiny Pokemon? Why do I got a shiny hunt? Why do I have to side quest to fucking unlock places I could fly to? Oh, and don't get me started with the TMs. A lot of the TMs that you used to be able to go into the store in any game or shop or find a Pokeball that has the TM that's really good, you can't even search for this TM. You can't buy the TM. You have to go through the progression system. There's this progression system where you're obligated to complete side quests to get these points, because you can only do specific points through trading and doing PvP. You could get a specific point to level up this rank to then unlock these points. Oh, and you no longer get the shiny, the what was it, the shiny stone, shiny charm. You have to do it through a system, and a lot of the important TMs and moves that are crucial, you can't find them. You have to force to do side quests, complete everything, and you can't just complete the Pokedex and get the shiny charm. Even for the Pokedex, and the progress of this is so slow. You are literally forced to spend more time in the game to complete a side quest to find things that usually you could obtain through exploration in the game. Like, why is this thing? And the Lumio, like the war building, there's no war building. There's no point of exploring. Unlike Pokemon Yellow and even the oldest, yeah, Pokemon Yellow, you'll be able to go into different houses. You just have an empty city. You could barely go into any houses. You can't explore the world. So, what was? Tell me, Nintendo. Tell me, what's the point of calling it an RPG when in older game you could actually explore the whole world around you, and when you explore, there's pretty much nothing. There's nothing to really see. So I don't get why you gotta make side quests to actually force. If that's the case and there's nothing to explore, you might as well just take off the side quests, because they're fucking meaningless. What you're getting back is not even that much. It's just mostly the most important XP so you can rank up your freaking points so you could get the TM that you want, or your Master Ball, your lucky Chinese charm or whatever. You're being forced to side quests. It's just there's no point. If this is the case, what was the point of even putting the side quest? The only purpose that the side quest got put in there was literally to force you to spend more time in the game. There's nothing to explore, so there's no point of side questing. It's like going to this, oh, get me this, blah blah blah. Get me this mega Pokemon this big. Like, what is the fucking point of this? And keep in mind, you're locked in Lumio City. You can't get out. I feel like I'm in fucking Auschwitz, bro. I feel like I'm in a damn fucking concentration camp and I got the motherfucking Germans pointing a fucking gun at me. You can't leave Lumio City. You could try to leave and there's two options. And when you leave, there's nothing to leave. Oh, and no matter what you choose, RPG role playing game, no matter what option you choose in your dialogue, it doesn't make a change at all. Like, this is actual fucking trash. Like, I'm I literally feel like I'm in a concentration camp. You're in a fucking prison of a game where you can't explore, you can't go nowhere, you can't travel to other towns. You're stuck in the same city. And keep in mind, this is what Nintendo was suing Palworld for. And as I said before, I was right what I said about Palworld and Nintendo. Then the only reason that Nintendo is actually suing Power is because Power actually made a game that was actually good, and they're jealous that they can't make the. Well, it's not that they can't make those sales because Nintendo Pokemon is a huge franchise. If they build a franchise to cards, teddy bears, it's basically Japan's face. It's not that they can't make a good game; it's that they won't, and they hate that Power took what they have, they improvised on it, they made it theirs, and they fucking banked that for some money. So the fact that they sold Pocket Pair, it literally proves my point that they only did it just to fuck with them because they're jealous that they actually have success and they knew for a damn fact their game wasn't going to bring up those numbers. Clearly, as we could see, they're not bringing any. It's doing good, but it's not doing as good as Power. That's all I'm going to say about this. Now, as for the combat, I did like what they did to the combat. So basically, the combat works like this. Now, instead of just having turn based games turn-based games, they made it more open world, and the idea behind it, I believe their idea of what they wanted to do is basically make it more like the anime so you could actually like move around and try to avoid moves. And so you hold your trigger down and then you choose whatever move you want to use. But here's my problem. Yes, you made the game like this so you can move around and avoid moves, but unless you're trying to avoid something like earthquake, it's kind of pointless to really move. You might as well take it to. Oh fuck, sorry, I had a hiccup. Anyway, so what I like about the combat, they try to apply that thing where if there's an earthquake or a move, you could actually move to avoid the move, but most moves are so instant that there's no point of really moving. You might as well stay there and take the hit because you're gonna take it no matter what. Now, certain moves are like Hydro Pump or moves that take a long time, like Earthquake. Those you could possibly move out of the way, but most of the move they're gonna hit no matter what. So that's the problem I had with this. I get that they're trying to improvise and make the game better and not like the old school turn based. But when it comes to turn-based games, you don't actually have to change. If not, Expedition 33 has proven that turn-based combat doesn't have to be anything crazy. You could maybe put a button so you could dodge certain attacks instead of actually having to move your physical Pokemon out of the way. Because obviously, moving your Pokemon out of the way of the move most of the time doesn't work. So you might as well take in that step and do what Expedition 33 does. Match certain keys at certain time to be able to avoid it. Like, I think that would have been smarter instead of doing this fucking shit. This is like, I do find the combat enjoyable, but when you again, if you compare it to Digimon is turn based and it doesn't even have the thing that Expedition does. But look at these animations. Look at how cool these animations look when you're in combat and how it's so simple. They didn't do nothing crazy. Just give us proper animations. We still have these animations that look actually, matter of fact, there's a game called Blue Protocol. That's a gotcha game. It's a mobile game. And it looks better than this shit. Like, this is why I gotta say about the combat. I'm just saying, Game Freak, you took Pokemon X and Y cosplaying on it. You chose Scarlet and Violet and Legend Arceus, throw it in there, barely trying anything, and expect people to like it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of fun, but when I started getting into when I started comparing to other like turn-based RPGs and monster crushing RPGs, I'm like, bro, this is fucking trash. Palworld makes this shit look like a fucking joke, and Palworld was sort of a ripoff. It was like a spin-off of Pokemon. I'm like, why are you suing someone who does something better than you? Instead of that, couldn't you actually taken some stuff that you saw from Power and add it to Pokemon? But no, you have to fucking sue them like the pussies that Nintendo are. That's like, I'm fucking, I can't believe this shit. Like, are you fucking serious here? It's been, I don't man, Pokemon been around for like what, 30 years and we still have the same combat. Yeah, you can move around, but if you look at Pokemon Coliseum and the N64, that game I will say has better animations. It has better attack animations than this actual game. You can barely even see the animations from far away because it's so small. I really don't get why Nintendo. You guys have so much money. Now, when it comes to Pokemon, sorry, when it comes to the Pokemon PvP, this is the only thing I will say I actually like what they did to it. So when I was younger, I used to actually be super into the Pokemon competitive side, and I used to go in GTS Global, whatever that stands for. Anyway, I used to IV train, breed my Pokemons, have the perfect breeding. Okay, so they removed breeding out of this game. And now, when it comes to natures, when you crash natures, it doesn't matter. And breeding is not around, so people don't care too much about perfect EVs, IVs. Basically, what people I notice that people do is they kind of just change the natures. There's these plants that you can get at certain areas, and you buy them for 20,000 Poké Dollars, and you change the nature of your Pokemons. And so what they did with the PvP is they made it more accessible to everyone. So you can just join a match and get started and start getting points, and they give you like where candies, they actually give you rewards per match as long as you don't come last and you just ranked up. You actually get something worth out of it. And I like how they made it just like battlegrounds and Elder Scrolls, like 3v3, whatever. And basically a group, everyone's against each other. They make it more accessible. You don't gotta like hardcore EV train because there's not really a really good way to actually do that. So you kind of just, you just hop in a game, fight with your Pokemons in a three group, and that's it. That's pretty much it. Like they simplify it where everyone could just join and enjoy themselves. Okay, so let's talk about. Let me just look at my list. So let's talk about the performance because I can't wrap my head around this. So this game originally was meant to be ran into the Switch One. Right. So it was originally made for the Switch One. They weren't going to port it into the Switch 2. You just have to just play the Switch One version on the Switch 2. Now, tell me why this game on the Switch One performs like actual dog shit. It can even it's worse than Scarlet and Violet and Legend Arceus. It can't even keep 30 frames on the Switch One. Now, I ended up trying it on the Switch 2. And the Switch 2, I had no problems. The game ran perfectly. But on the Switch 1, you got so much stutters. The game was nearly unplayable. I don't understand why it runs so bad. And there's a lot of bugs. You gotta be really careful running into trainers because you get stuck in walls and your Pokemons will get stuck pretty much anywhere. They get stuck between rocks, between everything. The game just performs really bad when it comes. Now the bugs that applies to no matter whether you play on the Switch One or the Switch Two. There's bugs like a motherfucker. You could even flaw all of the map, and you're gonna have to close the game. And if you didn't save the game, well, screw you. Start where you left save, or if your game auto save. Also, you can't really disable auto save. So yeah, if you're in a certain area and catch a Pokemon, you, if you're in a story part and it auto save, that kind of sucks because in the beginning you can't get your perfect nature starter. You kind of just have to go to whatever you want, unless you want to close the game, erase the game, go through all the dialogue, and do that shit over again. I don't recommend that. You might as well just get one of those herbs later in the game and just change the nature of the Pokemon. That I don't know why this is a thing. Why they disable autos like why they don't let you disable it, but this is quite annoying. Now, shiny hunting could be easier, a little bit harder depending on what area you are, if the area doesn't autosave. But when you catch certain Pokemons, it autosave automatically. You're on top of a building that it doesn't autosave. So you could probably shiny hunt there, but it's kind of like you kind of have to stay there. It fucking sucks, man. I would also like to mention that this game, I don't really think that this game actually spent. They say they spent $13 million, but I doubt that's the case because Nintendo basically said that they only need 200,000 units to break even. And to me personally, what that tells me is that the game was really low budget. It was fucking, they barely make money and they want more returns to the money they invested. They're ripping people off because keep in mind, this game does not have voice acting. Digimon made one of the first AAA games, and it has voice acting. If you go back to the really old games, that one has voice acting. Game Freak and Nintendo has more than enough to actually afford to actually put voice acting in the game, but you have no voice acting in the game at all. Like, why is this the case? I don't fucking know. They clearly have the money, and they made this with such little money. They say so much money in so many areas because they're fucking cheap, greedy bastard. Just put some fucking voice acting, even if the characters are boring, and you give voice. If you add a voice to it, you can maybe bring it a little bit to life more, you know? Now, we're getting close to the end of the review, but let's talk about the megas. Now, as for the megas, do I really have to say something about this? Do I really gotta mention? You know what? Let's just play this clip.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
So as you can see by the looks of this megaform, it's like they're not even trying anymore. Like this shit literally just looks like Patrick. You remember when Patrick wore the fishnets? This is literally the image that keeps playing in my head. Like what the hell is going on? They've given us megas before, but not this bad, not at this level. They didn't even try. They just put longer legs into it. Like now, yeah, the game is bad, but I did find a few things that were funny. Wait, give me a second. Let me think about it. Okay, that one is difficult. Just kidding. Okay, so one of the things I actually found funny. So there's this quest where there was a girl who was an online streamer, and she was like lazy degenerate that like playing video games all the time, not do nothing. She was basically a streamer slash VTuber, and I say slash VTuber because she had a hologram of herself where she stream interact with her parasocial fans or whatever. Yes, this was like Pokemon, and she was too lazy to it. So there was this old guy that pretended to be her and used her hologram online. So basically, they're kind of playing the joke that all VTubers are like 50-year-old man behind the camera doing a voice. I thought that part was funny, and also. Here's my first reaction of freaking Nurse Joy. Ah, look! Oh my god, Brock. Brock is so brave. Look, Brock came out of the closet. Oh my god, Brock couldn't find a girlfriend and he became the girlfriend. He's so brave. Look how brave Brock is. Oh my god, look at Brock. Brock's just cool. He pulled a Caitlyn Jenner. Wow. Look at him. Let's show the before and after picture. Brock is so brave. He's such a brave soul. Look, he came out of the closet. Look at Brock. Look at Brock. The drag now. Brock is so brave. So brave. Look at Brock. Look at Brock. He's such a brave soul. Look, he came out of the closet. Look at Brock. This is Brock before his transition. This is Brock after his transition. Look how brave he is. Brave Brock. So brave. Now, I don't have nothing against like black people at all. I'm actually married to a big hunk of chocolate, if you know what I mean, brothers. But of all the shades of black, why you choose that one? And there's something worse. There's one that they shows one that is like pitch black and they slap pink on it. I'm like, okay, the nurse, I'll give the nurse a little pass because she's hot. You know what I mean, brother? A brother gotta eat that chocolate, you know what I mean? But there's this other girl that she has all fairy types and she look so fucking dark, bro. Why he shows that shade? That's not black or brown. That's pitch night or some shit. Holy shit. Now there is some woke stuff in it, but it didn't bother me as much. So basically, there's some character. I don't know what the fuck her, she, they, whatever their name is. What I don't know what the fuck is that thing. Okay, but I'll say this, there is some non-binary or whatever they wanna call it character in there that's really annoying and has an obsession with the streamer, like, stalker levels of creepy. I did not like her character, by the way, and it had nothing to do with her gender. Now, as for the woke things, I just thought she was just stupid. Like, she was just fucking weird, creepy. I'm like, when I was playing the game, I'm like, this is what streamers are afraid of. This is what female streamers are afraid of when going to TwitchCon. Anyways, as going back to like the quote quote woke things, yeah, there is a lot of woke things in it, but it doesn't feel like they're trying to like I'm in an HR meeting introducing ourselves what gender and non-binary people because they're not throwing it in my face. They kind of just show it and they kind of don't say it. They just yeah, they're there, but they're not educating me of oh, this is what gay people are. Blah 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 blah. They're not doing that, so I gave it a pass. But I don't know, it's kinda weird considering that Nintendo doesn't wanna develop a more mature story, and by mature, I don't mean, like, weird mature, like, nothing extreme, but a better story and, like, a more developed story, you know, like, not something too dark, like, maybe, like, what Digimon did, you know? Just touch some of those topics. Oh, sorry, I got hiccups. Which is like, you know, something darker theme, something the end of the world. I don't know. I have to save something, something along those lines. Now, Nintendo has said they didn't want to give us a more, according to this definition that I gave you, a darker story or more mature story in the sense of how I described it, because they want to keep friendly, but they have no problem pushing ideology of gender. Like, what? And some of the dialogue is fucking weird, like this screenshot right here. Why is this in a kids game? Is this quote directed for kids? Which, let me give you a freaking fun fact. A lot of kids don't even play Pokemon these days. The other day, I asked my cousin if he played Pokemon because at his age, I was like, hey, at your age, I was playing Pokemon. Do you play Pokemon? And he's like, I don't play Pokemon. That shit is gay. He straight up said that. He's like, "Why you play that?" I'm like, "GTA." I'm like, "Why? Why is your mom letting you play GTA? What the fuck are these kids? Kids are growing up way too fast these days." Anyway, so yeah, I think Nintendo is kind of hypocritical with this one. So this one is another L for freaking Game Freak and Nintendo. You know, instead of making a review, I feel like this is more like a pop piece doing towards Pokemon and Nintendo. It feels like I'm writing a pop piece. Actually, I don't even know if that term is even appropriate after, you know, Puff Daddy fucking P. Diddy decided to drop his new album, Epstein Island, apparently. Anyway, that's a different topic. But yeah, the game is just bad. I hate so much about it. And I don't want to keep making this video longer, but trust me, there's just a lot of things about the game that see, the thing is it worth $70 or 60? No, I don't even think the game is even worth $30. When they used to sell their games at $30, yeah, it was a different economy. You're getting more content, a better story, and a better overall game. Like, yeah, if you buy the game on Switch One, yeah, it's gonna perform like shit. You're paying $60, so that's pretty much the price, and 70 for the Switch Two. And they purposely make the graphics and the colors look way worse on the Switch One when you see games that did the same thing that drop a Switch 2 and Switch 1 everything, but and they both look like the same colors and grading and everything looks the same. It's the frames obviously. But on this version, it's like they made the colors way more washed out, and the game performs like shit on the Switch one. So if you do play it, play on the Switch 2. But I think that was kind of weird and sketchy to get people to buy the Switch 2 version so they can actually count it into their sales. So when you buy the upgrade, even if you bought the Switch 1 version and you buy the upgrade, they purposely count the upgrade as a separate game to say that they actually have more style, so it looks good on paper. But I don't know, man. The game is doing pretty well. Now let's look at the sales. Let me switch my scenes. So let's go to Metacritic. Okay, so now we're here. Let me just turn on my VTuber model. Okay, so right here, we're in the Metacritics. And so this is the Pokemon pretty much ZA review Metacritics. Now, Game Informer, we're gonna ignore that. Metascore, we're gonna ignore that because basically these critics, to be honest, these critics are basically companies that get paid under the table to actually get the game review better things so they can get free codes and they can make money. So I'm gonna ignore this. I'm gonna only score the user score, and this is a franchise that's way bigger than Digimon. So you're being left with a 4.7. General unfavorable. User score. So the user score is 4.7. Now, I know they sell a lot of games. It doesn't matter. They're still going to sell a lot of games because it's Pokemon. Pokemon has been building their brand with franchise. It's even the face of Japan, I would say. Over the years, there's no way they're not gonna sell. They're gonna make more than what they actually invested. Because that's just the harsh truth. But keep in mind, the user score is only 4.7, which pretty much ain't shit when it comes to Nintendo. Like that rating, that is not looking that good. Now, if you look at Digimon, now this is the user score for Digimon. Yes, Digimon is a way smaller game, so there's that in consideration. But I'm gonna tell you, me personally, I'm about to beat the game, and Digimon is a way better overall game. And look how it's doing, 9.3. This game, the reason I play this game is because I can't stop hearing people talking about it. And I already had a feeling Pokemon Legends Z-A was gonna be a shit game, so I was mentally getting ready, and then I played Pokemon Legends Z-A, then I went to this game, and I can honestly tell you this actually is a way better game. Even if the fan base is not as much, it's still extremely good game. Compared to Pokemon, this shit is like a fucking Picasso. And I will be dropping a review on this shit, to be honest. Now, let's talk about more about this game. So, my rating, I'll be honest, when it comes to Pokemon Legends Z-A, it doesn't really deserve a good rating. I'll give it a 4.1, and that's me being generous. Would I pay for this? Is this game worth it? Hell the fuck no. This game is not worth it. If you don't want to waste your money in this economy, skip this game. If you want a real game that actually feels like a $70 game, get Digimon. Now, Digimon is different. It's extremely different, but once you actually learned it, it's actually really good. And actually, I gave it the score before I even look at the Metacritics. I just look at the Metacritics live with you guys. And my score was not that far to what I personally gave it before even recording this and looking that up. I was gonna give you a 4.1, being generous to be honest, but 4.7 is not that far from the rating I gave it. Now, that's all I gotta say. I hope this is the last time I talk about Pokemon. I don't want to talk about this game, and I don't think it's Game Freak, because if you look at Beast of Reincarnation, that game looks like it's going to be really good, and it's made by Game Freak. This is why I don't like putting the blame on Game Freak. I mostly put the blame on Nintendo, because Nintendo is the one holding them on a leash like freaking Hassan's dog. So, anyways, that's all I have to say for the game. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, as always, stay spooky, stay weird. Bye.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternel. Et Gustave, dom guardiam, dilim, dididididam, tessera dorilom, seram. Dim dim da 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 dim dim da 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 dim